What's going on, y'all? Fluid Tube. I got to go to the hospital this morning. I got to get an ultrasound on my liver. I guess it's kind of a storied time, I reckon. So when I was about 15 years old, alcohol was introduced to me. And it was just, on a weekend thing, kind of. We would just drink on the weekends. My cousin would come over, or I'd do it with my brothers. And also because I started having anxiety right around that time, and I couldn't go to sleep. And I found out, if you drink a beer, you'll relax, and you'll go to, you'll be able to relax and go to sleep and not have any anxiety. So I started doing that, and you get accustomed to one beer. One beer doesn't work. So then you go to 2 beers. You go to 3 beers. Next thing you know, you're drinking more and more. And my anxiety was had gotten so bad. I didn't know that drinking was causing my anxiety, but I was drinking to cure my anxiety, but my anxiety was caused by drinking. I was drinking to cure my anxiety, but my anxiety was caused by drinking. And I didn't know that. I got into a really bad circle, and I couldn't get out. And around 19, maybe 19. Yeah, 19 or 20. I was up to drinking like 12, 13 beers a day. And it just kept progressing and getting worse. And then around 23, I was still drinking very heavily. I was drinking like 17 to 18 beers a day, and I was so depressed. I would sit in my room, Indian style, and I would look at my birth certificate, and for some reason I just knew I wasn't going to make it to my 24th birthday. And I would cry, and I would cry, and I would always say, why do I have to be like this? I see all my friends going out, they're drinking, they're having a good time, but yet they're carrying on with their daily lives. And I didn't understand, how come they can do it but I can't? And it was just, I was in a really dark place. I didn't understand, and things started getting a little worse. I started, noticing that, my body started kind of deteriorating. I looked so sad all the time. I looked like I was drained, and my stomach started kind of getting bloated. I didn't really notice it at the time. I just thought I was kind of gaining weight. Finally, I was 144 pounds when I was 24. And I noticed that year, right around my birthday, I started coughing a lot. Like coughing and dry heaving. And I didn't really know why. I guess this is like the shortest version of it. I'll stay on here another day and kind of run through the whole story of it. I'm just kind of give you a quick rundown of things. I started coughing and dry heaving a lot, and I didn't know why. It just kind of happened out of nowhere. And one night my cousin came over, just like we always did. We went out to the bar. I had been drinking all day, of course. I did this every day at this point. I had to have it at 9 o'clock where I was shaking. And, excuse me. And we went to the bar, and it was probably, I don't know, 12 o'clock. And I wasn't buzzing anymore. I told my cousin, I was like, man, something don't feel right, man. My stomach just feels weird. So I was like, I'm gonna go home. And he was like, well, he doesn't, he said he doesn't want to go home. And I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna go home though. And if you need me to come back and get you, call me later, but I need to go home. Mind you, drinking and driving, I do not, I'm not for it. I'm totally against it now. I was in my mood and my zone back then. Nobody could tell me nothing. So I went home that night. It was September 9th, and I went home, and I went to sleep, and I woke up to a call at about 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. So I wasn't asleep long, and it was the bartender saying that I needed to come get my cousin. He was drunk. I said, okay, I'll come get him. And before I left, I threw up a little bit, and it was black. I mean, black as black could be. And I'm thinking, like, I throw up acid a lot. I have acid reflux really bad, but it's never been black. So it kind of freaked me out, but I was like, okay, whatever. So I went and picked my cousin up, came back, ate I think I had ramen noodles, went back to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night, and I had to throw up, and it was nothing but like clots of blood. Like lots of clots of blood. And I was like, what in the world? So, me having anxiety all the time, I'm freaking out. I'm like, what in the world? So what do I do? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. So I go and grab a beer. I go back in my room, I sit down, and I didn't open it, but I had it next to me. And, I kind of went back to sleep a little bit. I woke up and I was throwing up more blood. I mean, a lot of blood. At this point, I couldn't get out of bed, so I was just kind of throwing up in my floor. I know it sounds disgusting. I was throwing up clots and clots of blood in my floor. And at this point, I'm scared at this point. And I called my mom. I was like, Mom, something is wrong with me. And she kind of knew I had a problem. So did my dad, but not really. I was very good at hiding it. So I told my mom, I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. I told her what was going on, and she was like, it's time. Today's your day. You're going. What time is it? 8:42. So I told her, she was coming for about an hour away. I was like, all right, I need to go to the hospital. And then I called her back like 15 minutes later. I was like, no, Mom, I'm gonna be all right. I'll be fine. If it's still like this tomorrow, then I'll go. And she said, no, you are going today. You are going, which thankfully she did, because I probably would have died. So went to the hospital. Mind you, I'm still throwing up clots and clots of blood in the hospital. They hooked me up to a little monitor, do my heart rate and stuff, and it was, I think it was like 200. Like I was, they were like, okay, we need to, get him back and take an EKG like now. So they take me back. They took an EKG of my heart. Everything was good with my heart. But I was bleeding really bad. Come to find out, I had esophageal varices. I had esophageal varicose veins that had ruptured, and that's what was causing me to bleed. And so they took me back. they were going to give me Valium or whatever it was, and I was totally against Valium, Xanax, anything. Like, my friends would try to get me to get Xanax, but I was like, no, because I didn't want it to make my anxiety worse. Like, that was my thing with any other drug, was I didn't want to make my anxiety worse. It was already bad enough. I didn't need to make it any worse. So, they gave me Valium, which I calmed down immediately, of course. Mind you, I haven't taken it since then. I haven't taken any Xanax. I've never taken Xanax. I've never taken any Valium ever since I was in that hospital. They took me back. I had surgery. I had a endoscopy where they banded my veins that were bleeding. I spent, I don't know, I think it was like 5 days in a hospital. I had to go through medical DTs. I don't remember nothing being in there. I think I remember maybe 10 minutes of me being in there, but they said I was awake. My family said I was awake. I was talking to them the whole time. I don't remember none of that. Then I got out, and they finally put me on some antidepressants to help with my anxiety. And at that point, I remember I slept for like a month. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I slept for like a month when I got home. I would get up, I'd eat, I'd fall right back to sleep. I was so tired. My body was just wore out. And I know they did, lots of extensive blood work. My liver was only at like 2%. Was not good. I was heading down death. The doctors told me, I don't remember this, but they said, if you keep going, you won't make it to your 25th birthday. This was in September. My 24th birthday. I had my 24th birthday in June. They said I wasn't going to make it to my 25th birthday. Anyways, so I got home. I was on medicine, and kind of like after a month of being on this medicine, I didn't have anxiety anymore. So I had no desire to drink anymore, and haven't since. I've had no desire. I've had no sips. I can be around it. I don't care. It don't bother me. Like, I know what it did to me. I know what it's capable of. I know that's not the case for everybody. People say, I wish I had some nice story saying, oh yeah, I go through this every day, and I battled every day. I don't. I don't even think about it. I know a lot of people do. It's definitely a hard drug to kick. Because I couldn't do it. But that was my wake up call. I hit rock bottom. And yeah, so kind of a little story time today. So yeah, I'm at the hospital now. I've got to get a what do you call it? What is it called? Anyways, they got to look at my liver like they do every 6 months. I had to have surgery every year. I had to have an endoscopy. They go in through my throat to look at the varicose veins to make sure, they're still fine. They're not going to rupture anytime soon or anything like that. I had to have a CT, MRI scan every 6 months. They have to monitor my liver. They did diagnose me with cirrhosis of the liver. It's kind of borderline that, because I damaged it so much. So yeah, kind of a little story time today. It is what it is. Don't drink, kids. It's not cool. Never was. I'm not gonna lie, I had a good time doing it when I was young. It is what it is. But if you can help it, don't do it. It's stupid. It leads down to the wrong path. A lot of my friends, they went other ways. They started doing drugs and all kinds of things. Thank God I never did anything. But yeah, that's a little of my testimony. Like I said, I'll go into further detail another day on another video. But yeah, we're here, we're alive, we're breathing. God is good as always. So till next time, I'll see y'all. All right.